way of trying to encourage judges to make sure that the court is a place where everyone can give their best evidence and present themselves in the best way and be heard and perceive that they have had and actually have a fair hearing on the subject of the Equal Treatment Bench book, because it's the sort of thing that's being rolled out around the world, and I think it's fair to say that this country is a pioneer, if you like, in that field. So I've been sort of reaching out and giving lectures to people in those countries as well. The Queen's Bench Division deals with a very wide range of work, things like serious personal injury cases, historic child abuse, large contract claims, libel and slander, and so on. So it's a very broad range of, if you like, generally common law work. We do a mixture of case management and trial work, so I'll typically manage a case, and then if it's a case of up to about 3 days long, I might well try it myself as the trial judge, and then even handle it after the trial as well in terms of enforcement and so on. And for other cases I might manage them and then pass them on to other sorts of judges, or indeed other courts around the country. So that's what I do for a living. I was appointed to that job in 2010. It's 2022 now, so I've been doing it for a little while. I'm on what's known as the whistleblowing committee. I'm a nominated judicial office holder for the purposes of the whistleblowing scheme, and that means that I was chosen by the Lord Chief Justice to be one of, I think, about a dozen judges around the country who can be approached entirely confidentially by any judge who's concerned about what might be happening at their court, whether perhaps they think there's some wrongdoing, they think the system is being run in a way which is either illegal or perhaps subpar, and they want to be able to raise their concerns, possibly anonymously, and have them looked into. So it's not, if you like, a grievance process, it's actually about raising structural and internal concerns so that we can try to improve standards throughout the judiciary. So I was very honoured to be appointed to that committee by the Lord Chief Justice. As I say, there's only about a dozen of us, and it's quite a significant responsibility, but it's a very worthwhile one because it now provides that route for systemic improvement. I think really it's probably the origins of why I've been so passionate about making my hearings accessible to disabled people, whether that be physical or other disability, and indeed accessibility to non-lawyers. I vividly remember when I was, this was been, I think, the early 90s, when I was at bar school. There was a pupillage fair. I don't know if they still happen, but it was like a careers fair, and bar students could go to it and they could chat to people from different sets of barristers' chambers. But as I passed, there was a small crowd gathered around a woman who was in a wheelchair, and she was distressed. And from what I gathered, the reason for that was that she'd have liked to have gone to the careers fair, but she couldn't get in because it was upstairs. So that simple passive-aggressive act of design, if you like, in the building had been sufficient to exclude her from that opportunity, and that hit me so hard in terms of feeling how unjust that was. I don't know whether these are new skills. I suspect they're not, but the things that I've observed are a good thing, generally in other people, but I've tried to learn them. I think there are three things. The first is actually try to give to others, even if you're a junior lawyer, even if you're just starting out, maybe you're a trainee solicitor at court or a pupil barrister or whatever. If you see someone and they've forgotten their book or they need some help with something, help them, get involved, give to other people. You'll get back more than you give in the end. I think the second is forgive yourself, in the sense that not every day goes well. Some days you'll do the job and you think, I didn't do that very well. It's important to learn from those experiences, but let them go, and be mindful of the fact that nothing is entirely disastrous. When things go well, notice that they go well. When things don't go so well, think what did go well, think what didn't go well, and think what you do next time. The third thing, I think, is actually that something I learnt from my father, but also I think I've learnt from myself, is do more than one thing, have other interests, don't just focus on your career. And that's useful because when you've got clients at court, you may be stuck at court for a couple of hours waiting for your case to come on. It gives you something to talk about. It makes you more of a human being, and it's also a great way of reducing stress as well and normalising the court environment if you are someone who might suffer from a certain amount of anxiety going into court. Or indeed you might reduce your client's anxiety by being able to relate to them, if you like, on a non-legal level. Well, I think something that's not entirely missing but is on its way, and has been for a small number of years now, is a greater awareness of quality of life for lawyers. In terms of the law substantively, clearly the world faces a ecological and climate crisis, and I can perceive or foresee, I think, that as we talk more in terms of artificial intelligence and climate issues as well, that actually those things will feed into the law, and that we'll have a greater awareness that most regulatory laws have resource implications and they therefore have ecological implications. I think in terms of a photograph or photographs that matter to me, there are some photographs that come from the Welsh Library, I think, of a woman called Sarah Jane Rhys, whose bardic name as a Welsh bardic poet was Cranogwen, and she was a relative on my mother's side. Cranogwen was the first female Welsh Eisteddfod bardic chair, and that was in the mid to late 1800s. But she was so much more than that. She was quite gender transgressive. She became a fully qualified sea captain in the Victorian era and ran a navigation school of her own, training sea captains. They were called Cranogwen's captains. One doesn't know about her gender or sexuality, but she was definitely, for her day, someone who was pushing boundaries and was a free spirit, and she's been quite inspiring to me. She's very well known in Wales. I'm very proud to be related to her, and the photographs, I like to think I look a little bit like her in the photographs. Those photos I think I do cherish.